Thank you so much for attending my PowerPoint presentation on the most overrated towers in BTD6. Today, I'm going to dismantle your favorite crutches and explain why your favorite towers are actually anchors dragging your defense into the abyss. We are going to look at the statistical failures that you continue to worship despite the fact that they are completely worthless. Pay attention, or don't. Your inevitable defeat on round 98 isn't my problem. We begin our journey into mediocrity with the Razor Rotors. This upgrade is essentially the dunce of the Tier 3 Heli family. Players seem to think that because it adds a physical damage component to the top of the helicopter, it somehow becomes a viable early game carry. It does not. The developers themselves have basically called this thing a failure in past patch notes. It represents a fundamental misunderstanding of what a heli pilot should be doing. The issue is that Razor Rotors has zero synergy with its own Tier 2 upgrades. You're paying for a spinning blade that barely tickles the Bloons, while the main darts are busy missing because you haven't figured out how to use the follow mouse instruction properly. It provides a pathetic amount of popping power and has no utility to back it up. If you actually want to be productive, you should use the downdraft 030 instead. While you're busy trying to shred Bloons with a glorified ceiling fan, the downdraft is actually providing utility by blowing threats away from the exit. It is a more cohesive part of a defense. Razor Rotors is just a middle management mistake that exists to drain your bank account so you can't afford anything actually useful. Next on the list of financial disasters is the Super Glue. This is the tower for people who are so terrified of Bloons moving an inch that they're willing to overpay by tens of thousands of dollars. People think that this Tier 5 is a must-have for stalling Moabs because it completely stops them in their tracks. It looks impressive on paper until you actually look at the price tag. The reality is that Super Glue is barely an upgrade over the Relentless Glue. You are paying a massive premium for a very marginal increase in performance. Relentless Glue already handles the stalling and stunning duties with a level of efficiency that Super Glue can only dream of. Investing in the Tier 5 version is a sign that you don't know how to manage your economy. You're dumping money into a tower that does the same job as its predecessor just to feel a sense of completion. Instead of wasting your life savings on Super Glue, just stick with a 024 Relentless Glue and use the leftover cash to buy actual damage. A main Moab sniper or even a simple sabotage ninja provides better value for the cost. Super Glue is a luxury item for the mathematically illiterate. Now we move to the Super Monkey, the favorite toy of players who think more expensive means more better. The Anti-bloon is a tower that screams, "I have too much money and no idea how to spend it." People love the screen clearing ability and the cool robot aesthetic. They think it's the ultimate mid to late game solution. The Anti-bloon is chronically underused for a reason. It does not live up to the Super Monkey name for the cost. Even after various buffs, it remains an awkward investment. It struggles to justify its existence when compared to other towers that fulfill the same role for a much lower price. The area of effectability is nice, but it's a win more mechanic. If you can afford an Anti-bloon, you've probably already won the game and you're about to lose because you spent all your money on one unit that can't handle the density of round 98. If you need massive area damage, buy a Tech Terror and keep the change. Or better yet, invest in a series of Tier 4 towers that provide more consistent coverage across the map. The Anti-bloon is a vanity project disguised as a defense. It is truly pathetic. Continuing our descent into the Super Monkey trap, we have the Legend of Night. This tower is famous for its black hole passive that prevents you from losing the game when you inevitably leak Bloons. Bad players treat this as a safety net because they can't be bothered to build a competent defense. The harsh truth is that this tower is almost never worth the $200,000+ price tag unless you are making a VTSG. In a standard game, the Legend of Night is a massive waste of resources. Its popping power is good, sure, but for 200 grand, it should be doing your taxes and cleaning your room. Instead, it just sits there waiting for you to fail so it can trigger a passive that only lasts for a few seconds. Outside of very specific niche challenges, this tower is just fodder. If you find yourself needing the black hole, you've already failed as a strategist. You should focus on building a defense that doesn't leak in the first place. Use an MAD or a permaspike, something that actually prevents the problem rather than trying to mitigate the disaster after it happens. Some of you are probably reaching for the comments right now to tell me how your Legend of Night saved your round 200 run. I don't care. Your anecdotes are not data. If you want to prove that you aren't just another mouth-breathing casual who thinks shiny tier 5s are a substitute for a brain, then subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell. It's the only way you might actually learn something useful about this game. This is a big plane. Yes, we've all seen the meme. Unfortunately, many of you have mistaken a joke for a viable strategy. The Flying Fortress is the ultimate cash dump. It fires a staggering amount of projectiles and looks like it should be the end-all be-all of the Ace world. In reality, building this tower is more an admission of defeat. The developers themselves have noted that this tower is a cash dump rather than a value-added unit. It costs upwards of $100,000 depending on the difficulty, and for that price, you could have a Paragon or a dozen other tier 4s that actually provide map coverage. It's a win-condition tower that often fails to deliver the win. It is clunky, it is expensive, and it relies on a sheer volume of fire that often misses the mark on more complex maps. If you want actual value from your ace, use the Sky Shredder 500. It is significantly cheaper and deals massive damage to Moabs without requiring you to sell your soul to the monkey banks. The Flying Fortress is just a giant target for your own incompetence. While we're on the subject of the ace, let's talk about the Spectre. This is the noob trap of the mid-game. Players love the Spectre because it feels like a set-it-and-forget-it tower. It circles the map and rains down lead and explosives. It feels powerful until round 80 hits. The Spectre's value drops off a cliff the moment Super Ceramics enter the chat. It's notorious for having a high whiff rate. It lacks the concentrated damage needed to handle the massive health pools of late-game Bloons. You spend $20,000 saving up for it only to realize it can't even handle a few fortified Moabs without help. It is a bridge to the Flying Fortress that often collapses before you even reach the other side. Rather than relying on the Spectre, you should look into a Sun Avatar or a Dragon's Breath Wizard. They provide much better focused damage for a lower cost. Using a Spectre is just a lazy way to play the mid-game, and it will almost always come back to haunt you when the rounds actually start to matter. The Glaive Lord is a tower that appeals to the visual lizard brain in all of you. You see the rotating orbital glaives and think, nothing can get past that. It looks like an infinite pierce shredding machine. However, the Glaive Lord is an overpriced specialist that fails at its own specialty. It is too expensive for a tower that provides such low single target damage. If you aren't playing on a map with a perfect loop or a tight corner, the orbital glaives spend most of their time spinning in empty air. It is a complete waste of potential. If you actually need to delete groups of ceramics, use the Bloon Solver 500 Glue Gunner. The solver is cheaper, it melts super ceramics instantly, and its puddles provide track coverage that doesn't depend on the Bloons being within arm's reach of the monkey. The Glaive Lord is a relic of a simpler time, and it belongs in the trash with your other bad ideas. Now we reach the Ray of Doom, a giant, infinite pierce laser beam. It sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie, and it also performs like something out of a movie. It's all special effects and no substance. The tower is far too expensive for general use. You are paying for the privilege of popping every red balloon on the screen at the same time, which is something a $500 tower could do. When it comes to things that actually matter, like the round 100 bad, the Ray of Doom is shockingly weak. It lacks the single target focus to justify its massive price tag. Investing in this too early is a death sentence because you won't have the money left over for support towers. If you love the laser mechanic, just buy a Plasma Accelerator 400. It gives the same feel for a fraction of the price. For actual Moab damage, the MAD is the only Dartling gunner that deserves your respect. The Ray of Doom is just an expensive flashlight. Ah, the Crossbow Master, the poster child for overrated towers. New players love this thing. They see the fast fire rate, the critical hits, and the long range, and they think they found a secret cheat code. With monkey knowledge, you could even have 2 of them. Whoa, double the mediocrity. The Crossbow Master is an entry-level tier 5 that brings 0 utility to the table. It is pure damage, and that damage falls off a cliff the moment super ceramics appear on round 81. It struggles against heavy armor and has no way to stall or support your other towers. It's a greedy tower that takes up space and provides nothing but a false sense of security. Instead of this, use an Elite Defender 005 Sniper. It has a similar rapid fire roll but offers infinite range and scales much better with the Alchemist buffs. The shrapnel shot mechanics make the sniper a far superior choice for handling dense rounds. Stop trying to make the Dart Monkey happen. It's not gonna happen. The Archmage is a classic jack of all trades, master of none. It combines Shimmer, Dragon's Breath, and Arcane Bolts into one unit. It looks cool, it attacks fast, and it feels like a comprehensive solution to everything. But the Archmage has a secret. It is a super ceramic manufacturing plant. It is notorious for popping the outer layers of Moab so quickly that it dumps hundreds of high health ceramics onto the track all at once. Your other defenses, which were probably doing fine, are suddenly overwhelmed by a flood of trash. It creates a problem and then lacks the piercing or area damage to solve it. It's a disappointing investment for the price, especially since many of its attacks don't even benefit from proper cross-pathing. If you want a wizard that actually does its job, buy the Prince of Darkness 005. It is cheaper and specifically designed to clean up the very ceramics that the Archmage struggles with. Or use a permacharge boomerang for actual high tier DPS. The Archmage is a fraud, and if you use him, you're likely one too. Now we have the King of Lies, the Bloon Master Alchemist. This is the tower that every casual player points to when they want to pretend they know what they're doing. Look at the pop count, they cry, as if the number means anything. The Bloon Master Alchemist is a financial parasite. In any mode where cash is limited, like chimps, this tower is actively trying to make you lose. When it transforms a ZOMG into a red balloon, it deletes all the layers inside. You lose the money from the ZOMG, the BFBs, the Moabs, and the ceramics. You are effectively burning thousands of dollars every time it throws a potion. This leaves you with a major loss of money that you desperately need for late game upgrades. To make matters worse, it is completely useless against the round 100 bad. It's a tower that looks like it's helping while it's actually stabbing you in the back. If you want to delete Moabs, use the XXL trap, the 005 Engineer. It also insta-kills everything up to the ZOMG, but it actually generates cash from the process. It's a safer, smarter, and more competent alternative. The Bloon Master Alchemist is a trap for people who prefer flashy numbers over actual strategy. It's the ultimate affront to human progress in this game. Thanks for watching, and subscribe.